Well, hello there. Welkomst to On the Beat,
No, you
the
can't.
podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my co-host Ryan.
Ugh.
Don't make fun of me.
I'm not making fun.
I'm trying to be international.
I think you're doing a fantastic job of just making fun of yourself.
That is the thing I am best at.
That is 100% exactly what is going on here.
I like to make fun of myself, but the thing I won't make fun of is the 2021 Norwegian romantic comedy drama, The Worst Person in the World.
Which is kind of funny because judging by today's current events, she wouldn't really be considered the worst.
I don't believe she is the worst. I don't even think she's bad.
I also think it's probably maybe not referring to her because there's the guy who she meets in the story who refers to himself as the worst person. But I feel like it's a throwaway thing. It's kind of like you do something stupid or you forget something. You're like, oh my God, I'm the worst.
Yeah, I do believe that is just a phrase that is pretty common in in Norway and anywhere, where you're just thinking, I'm just the worst.
It's as common as the phrase worse than Hitler.
Maybe it's a little bit more common than that.
Probably. Only time will tell.
I am horrified to say the names of the actors in this film, but it was directed by Joachim Trier, which you will talk about in just a moment.
Is it Joachim or Joachim?
I looked it up.
Cool.
So
Joachim.
Joachim. Renata Rensiv, Anders Danielson Lee, and Herbert Nordrum are the stars of this film. And the synopsis that I pulled from Letterboxd is: the chronicles of 4 years in the life of Julie, a young woman who navigates the troubled waters of her love life and struggles to find her career path, leading her to take a realistic look at who she really is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's
excellent.
That's kind of the basis of the movie.
That
really
is a proper one-sentence synopsis of The Worst Person in the World.
I think that's what it is. I'm just flabbergasted that they were able to just sum it up in one single sentence, as opposed to the tomes that we usually fucking spell out on this podcast.
It seems weird that it's only 4 years. It seems much longer, but.
What do you mean? Since it came out? Yeah, 2021.
Well, no, also it chronicles 4 years of Julie's life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems a little bit odd.
Her haircuts seem more extreme.
Maybe
than 4 years would tell.
But you know what, women's haircuts are like. All right, yeah, because it goes from kind of like, well, no, because it's like shoulder length, then it gets long, then it goes back to being kind of short.
Well, it's kind of blonde or pink in the beginning, and then she gets a fringe. She gets bangs.
Because she's young, she's a student, she's figuring out the world, that's what you do when you're 19. You dye your hair, and
I do want to talk about her.
You like taking photos.
Her school, her career path, and everything, but why don't you tell me about the director first, and then we'll dig into some information and some things.
Okay, so Joachim Trier, he's a Danish-born Norwegian filmmaker. I was about to say it because that's what it looked like, was a Danish-born Norwegian Finlander, which would have been interesting. The absolute Scandinavian. So, in a nutshell, his films have been described as melancholy meditations concerned with existential questions of love, ambition, memory, and identity.
I would agree.
It's kind of in a nutshell, yes, that makes sense. But not a ton of information on the guy here. We have his films, and we also know that The Worst Person in the World is the final part of a trilogy as well. I think you're a little bit more little bit more versed in some of his other films because this is the only one of his I've seen.
The Oslo trilogy.
Yes, but yes, starting off in 2000 we have BiTTE. 2001 we have Still, Proctor 2002.
Those are his shorts, right? The first three are his shorts.
That's fine. That's okay.
I also did research.
Yes, I'm glad you did.
Thank you.
Reprise in 2006, Oslo, August 31st, 2011, Louder Than Bombs, 2015, Thelma, 2017, The Other Munch, which I like, 2018, The Worst Person in the World from 2021, and Sentimental Value, which was announced as well, but I'm not surprised that he's got a follow-up coming after The Worst Person in the World. This film was relatively quite well received, and yes, it is the third part of the Oslo trilogy.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It absolutely is.
Yep.
I watched the other two films, Reprise and Oslo, August 31st.
What did you think?
I really, really enjoyed them. Reprise reminded me a little bit of... It just had kind of Train Spotting homages a bit, where it's kind of fast paced and we're introducing each of these boys.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell the story of these friends.
This is the fucking 90s. Yeah.
We're in Oslo and
we're fucking doing
listening
it.
to punk music.
We're fucking doing it. We're
being best
young.
friends.
Smash your fucking heads.
It's not a fun movie, so to speak, but it is very engaging. I find his films very engaging to where you don't pick up your phone, and I think that's very good.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
He does do a good job of keeping you hooked in. Because this was kind of weirdly I enjoyed this film more the second time around than I did the first time. But no, it was like, at least by its like third act's incredibly strong. So like I was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of hooked in at that point.
Oslo, August 31st, they both star Anders Danielsen Lee, who is also in Worst Person in the World, obviously.
Yep.
He is the star. He carries all of these films. I know Renata is the star of Worst Person in the World, but of the other two in the Oslo trilogy, he's the main boy.
Yeah, because in this film, he's the second love interest, correct?
First.
He's the first.
He's the
cartoonist.
Yes.
The Robert Crumb Fritz the Cat ripoff. Obviously, yes. Robert Crumb doesn't exist in this universe because there's no fucking way litigation-wise they'd be able to continue having a cat like a naughty cat like underground comic like Fritz still like kicking around. There's no fucking way. Yeah,
that was drawn by a Swedish comic book artist named Hans Allen Christensen.
Yes, and not to say that like, you know, it's not welcome. It's definitely amusing in the film, and that's immediately what I jumped to is obviously the real life equivalent.
It's okay, I'm not going to get into this yet. But our director, did you know he was a skateboarder? Did you go that deep?
No, I mean, that's not really something I bring up on a film podcast, is that he likes to skate.
Well, he filmed his skateboarding videos. That's kind of how he started getting into film. And directing.
Oh, the actor. He filmed the actors. Or the actor filmed whose skating videos?
Okay.
Who filmed whose videos?
Joachim Trier, the director of this film.
Right.
Also was a skateboarder.
Okay.
And he filmed skateboarding videos.
Oh,
also.
Okay. I see. So, I get you.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. That's all right. So he's the Scandinavian Spike Jonze is basically what you're telling me. Okay. That's fine. No worries.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wanted to bring up, which I found incredibly interesting, is that Anders Danielsen Lee, who is Axel in the film, the comic book artist.
Yeah.
He's also a medical doctor in his life.
Well, that's good. It's good to have something to fall back on.
A renowned and awarded actor.
Right.
Who also, when he's not acting, has his own practice or works in a medical practice.
He's a fucking Renaissance man.
He says he would not
he's like
recommend.
Da Vinci.
He would not recommend that to anybody. It's very difficult.
Well, being a doctor and an actor at the same time.
Correct.
I mean, to be perfectly fair, he should probably just pick the one profession. I know it's fashionable nowadays, just because we're all so poor, to have several different careers all running in conjunction with each other. But he seems to be doing okay if he's a doctor. And certainly, if he lives in Scandinavia, like Denmark or Norway or whatever, like the quality of life over there is far superior to anywhere else in the world. So, he probably could do with just having the one career. I think he's a little greedy.
He's
like
doing
what
really
you're trying
well.
to tell me. He's a little greedy. I think he wants too much. He wants too many bites of that big pie. I think he needs to rein it in a little bit.
His filmography is quite extensive, and most of the films he's in that I've seen myself are quite good. So he's doing
Right.
well. He's doing well.
Okay.
He is almost like our main character, Julie, who is trying to figure out her career as she's going to school in the beginning of this film to be a doctor, a psychologist, a photographer.
Yeah.
We have lots of interest in this life.
Yeah,
You might as well spread your wings.
I think a lot of it came down to the fact that I think she was pressured into doing that by her family. It's like it's a sign of success is to become a doctor or a surgeon or a psychiatrist or to work in the medical field or whatever. That's kind of what I got from that. But then I think it's maybe it's a little bit easier to be creative in Norway.
Well, she had said in the film that she had an interest in humans, in the human body, and then she realized that maybe she had more of an interest in the human mind, and then maybe she had more of an interest in people, how they look, and creativity and arts. So that was her journey.
Yeah.
I know there were some critics that were saying that they just didn't appreciate how this woman was portrayed as if women can't make up their minds and they're flighty, which I disagree. When you're going to school, and if you just go to school, you should be able to figure out what you like and what you don't like. I stopped going to school when I was, how old was I? Maybe 20. Because I realized I didn't know what I wanted to do. But if I had stayed in school, I would have been like Van Wilder.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's a slightly shallow argument because then at that point you're kind of like, well, does this person understand, women, and then it becomes a whole issue against women who are common, maybe not able to make up their minds. It feels like it's kind of an insertion.
Well, you can't say because two men wrote the film and you have a lead character as a woman, you can't say automatically that they don't understand,
Yeah, no,
It's
I
like,
do
would a
get
woman
it.
get a pass for writing a woman character? Does a man get a pass for writing a man character?
I
Men
don't
can
know.
only write men.
I don't know. This is 2025, Laura. Like we've seen far stranger things than just understanding that this character just isn't able to make up their mind. Really.
Well, Renata had an opportunity to look over the script and have her input because there were men writing it and they wanted to get her opinion on the character, and she just thought it worked.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely works. Yeah, just there is, I think the film itself is good. Like it's better than it's better than fine. But it is like, to be fair, like it is what it is. It has some nice flourishes in it and stuff. I wouldn't criticize it for the main character because, like, if the main character was let's just say like she was terrible, the film kind of falls flat on its face. Really, I think it's the fact that she's so interesting is the reason why you continue to keep watching. Because you are kind of, there is an expectation that you're like, okay, the film is titled as such. Who's the worst person that we're going to be focusing on? And we kind of immediately assume that it's her.
Right.
But there's an endearment there. So you're kind of just like, well, is she? Are we going to find out? It's like, oh, she doesn't seem that bad. So there's a lot in the writing that I think continues to make it interesting. So I think regardless of whatever they've wrote and they've brought her in as for her involvement and her opinion on the role itself. Yeah, I do think those criticisms are a little unfounded.
I do think that anyone can probably think of times in their life where they felt like the worst person in the world or thought that someone that you were interacting with maybe felt that about you.
Potentially, yeah,
When you're
potentially.
going through and you're in relationships that don't work out, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're, a dirtbag.
No,
So,
but then I don't
'cause
like.
she's certainly not be bopping around to a bunch of different dudes in this film.
No, she's living her life. But my whole thing is kind of does it really make you like? Because you have to think about it like from the criticism standpoint. Is she the worst person because of XYZ that happens in the film? And I think it really comes down to kind of how you see yourself as a person, if whether or not that would be justified as an argument. Because like if you think about key moments in the film, she isn't able to make up her mind, but I don't think I would sum it up that way. I'd say like she's exploring her avenues in life.
Definitely.
And she's playing the field. She's young, she's exploring, and that involves exploring her sexuality. But I don't think she's particularly sympathetic when it comes to her relationships. But then again, I'm like, that doesn't make you a bad person either. I mean, I don't think I'm particular. I mean, it might be a reflection on who you are as a person and where you stand morally on some of the things that she does. And if you kind of like half agree with her, I think that's okay. But if you start to disagree with her, I still think that shouldn't be a knock against the writing either.
Well, I'm just wondering what you think it is that she did that you might not agree with, because we can get into the not cheating portion of the story, which the title of that is called Cheating.
Yeah.
Of that chapter. That's chapter 2. Because she's in a
I didn't think
relation.
she cheated on anybody, though.
She
didn't do it.
No.
She didn't cheat on anyone.
So she's in a relationship with Axel,
Yeah.
who is the comic book artist.
Mm-hmm.
And he is 15 years older than her.
Yeah.
Now, that's quite a gap. Doesn't mean that it can't work, but there are going to be some generational differences here. So you're going to have a man who's in a different part of his life.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants kids. This is a discussion that they have because you're in a relationship. You obviously need to discuss that.
You should.
She's younger. She's, barely 30.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes with complications when you have someone that potentially wants different things or is going down a different path in life than you are because of that age difference.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of where she's having trouble in that relationship.
Yeah.
And he's successful. He is publishing books, and she's just not quite figured that out for herself yet. And
yeah. Well, he's like he develops into kind of like a quasi national celebrity in a way.
Right.
Like he starts to build quite a fair amount of traction. But I think it's because like by the time they meet and they're together, he's probably already fairly established. Like he has his role in place.
Correct.
So I do think that her being introduced into his life when he's already kind of there, she's not really there at all. That's just going to cause this continuous friction, this contrast that I think just doesn't gel them very well together. And I'm just going to put this out there that is that maybe a thing that I would knock the film for is that I don't like knowing how long the film is going to be when they give it like chapters and stuff. Because the film starts and it basically tells you it's going to be in 12 chapters. So you're just
with
counting.
A prologue and an epilogue.
Yeah, and you're then like you're counting the thing. Because if this film's not fucking interesting, you're literally counting the fucking chapters to find. I was like, I really don't want to know. I want you just to take me on the story. Like, don't tell me how long the film is going to be. Just fucking take me on the story. If I wanted chapters, I'd read a goddamn book.
They don't really serve too much, only as a spoiler.
Yeah, I just don't think they are particularly necessary. You know, like I can understand it from like a stylistic point of view, but I don't have any rhyme or reason why it definitely 100% needs to be there.
Also, especially this chapter that I wanted to talk about, which is chapter 2,
Yep.
cheating really gives you quite a sense of dread throughout that whole sequence because you don't want to see her cheating on Axel because everyone loves Axel. He's a really good boy and
He's
they have what seems like a great
he's
relationship.
Yeah, but he's a little pretentious. Like he's a little bit pretentious, and
Yeah.
he is a bit of a know-it-all, and he feels like he's kind of teaching the world something. Like I think he's a little pretentious, and I can see where there's a level of annoyance there.
Okay.
So I do defend her for that. Like he is a bit of an annoying prick.
And yes, okay.
Certainly when like the very basis of your popularity is based off of a dog's arsehole. Pretty much. Yeah. Or the cat's asshole, you know, either way.
One of the most iconic buttholes ever is a quote from the film.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's just a starfish, dude. We've all got one. You've heard that phrase before, I'm sure.
Well, in this chapter, she meets a man after she crashes a wedding. I even, oh my gosh, it's so hard to say that man's name. I evened. Okay, that's his name. And
What the fuck?
that is his name. I'm trying to say the name of the character. Julie goes to a wedding reception party.
Oh, I didn't write it down because obviously.
Because you couldn't say his name.
Of course
it's
not. No.
Spelled Eivind.
Eva. That'll do. Yeah, maybe it's not
I
that
looked
difficult.
it up. This is another one I looked up, and I wrote Ivan.
Ivan. Okay.
Ivan. Okay.
Yeah, he's
wow,
Ivan.
This is
His name is Ivan.
gonna drive people
It's
crazy.
Fine. Yeah, it is.
She meets a dude, okay, at this party that she crashes, and she's getting drunk. And this is right after she left Axel's kind of book party.
Here's the thing, like she crashes the party, but someone as good looking as her who just kind of sneaks in there and thinks, no one's going to say no. Like there's no aspect of that. Like if it was like, you know what I mean? She goes and she gets that cigarette and stuff like that. Like you wouldn't give a cigarette to a munter if she came
Oh my
rocking
gosh.
up. Like
You're so mean.
Came waddling up and she's like, I have a cigarette, and they're like, get away from me, you freak.
She is so attractive that if she just walked into our house, I wouldn't ask her to leave.
Probably not.
I go, come on in.
Because my initial
What can I get
reaction
you?
is I immediately go for the knives. And I start getting a little bit swingy with the knives. But I'd probably, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if she wasn't speaking English, I mean, I might reach for the knife a little quicker. But if she's just kind of there and she's just like standing there in the sunlight looking pretty, then yeah, I might not be too quick to get a bit stabby.
Well, she is in a country that has a better education system than you or I ever grew up in. So I'm 1,000% sure that she knows many different languages.
I don't know if that is 100% true. You can talk about your own education if you want to. But
Do you know more than one language?
I know parts of another language because I learned it in school.
Okay.
But
You
no.
know what I'm talking about. We don't. We had horrible. The
Yeah.
American and the UK systems, they don't care about other languages like we should.
It's a
care.
get them in, make it, you know, don't break the law, get them straight out into the workforce as quickly as you can. That's pretty much the education system in the Western world, unfortunately, other than obviously Scandinavia.
I'm just saying that she
certain
walks
parts of
in here,
Europe.
she's going to know how to speak English well, and we'll understand her, and we'll invite her to stay.
Well, fucking good for her. You know what I mean? Fucking bookworm. Nerd. Getting out there, fucking speaking 4 languages at once. Not my fault. I'm pretty sure I was clever when I was younger. They didn't utilize my talents. They didn't nurture me the way that I felt I should be nurtured.
Let's get back on track here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that we're not as smart as we should be. That sucks.
I have no regrets.
Me not so smart no more. Okay?
What?
Exactly. I want to talk about this damn party where she meets this
dum-dum.
dude.
Me hit head with rock. All right, we're back at the party. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah, we're at the party.
So because of the title of this chapter, you're stressed and you don't want her to cheat. I don't want to see anyone cheating because that causes problems and it is upsetting. Someone's going to get their feelings hurt. So they play this game the entire time going, well, is this cheating? Is this cheating?
Yeah.
They watch each other pee. I'm sorry, she saw him pee and pull his wiener out. This is not the dick scene, but that's a little cheaty.
Yeah, maybe.
It's really close to the line, especially if it was just a man and she saw him pee, but she's flirting with this guy.
Well, here's a scenario.
The intentions are different.
Well, here's a scenario, Laura. Like, what if you went into a public bathroom and someone's doing a pee and they're in one of the stalls, but the stall has no door, so they have no choice. They were like busting. They needed to piss. Like they needed desperately to go to the bathroom, and then you see them. And you see them peeing, and you're like, "Oh no, that's really unfortunate. It's that cheating."
So I think this is where intention comes in, because let's say I walk in on a man going pee, and I go, "Oh no, my apologies," and I leave. Guess what? I go and tell you immediately.
Yeah,
I go,
I guess so.
Hey, guess what? I just saw a dude taking a whiz and I saw his wiener. And
I'd be like, why did you cheat on me?
Right. See? Now, in this
Laura,
scenario, in the film, we have a man peeing and she's watching him.
Yes.
And then would she go tell Axel about this? I was in a bathroom and a man watched me pee, and then I watched him pee, and he would go, "Why?"
Well, here's the
and
thing,
then
but
she says, "It's because I wasn't cheating on you." Suspicious.
It's a little, no. I know exactly what you mean.
I just wanted to describe it.
But the thing is that like they show each other their genitals.
She also farts in front of him, which is great.
It's pretty funny. I mean, I do have a note in here that just is in block capitals, fart.
Yeah, me too.
So, but I understand it. I mean, the minute you start bringing into the conversation, it's just like, what are your intentions? It's like obviously you know that's sexual in nature regardless. Like there's an underlying chemistry that's there that you're just like, the minute you start figuring out your intentions, it's like, is this discreet? Are you discreet?
Are you discreet?
It's like,
I'm just always going to be on Axel's side because I don't think that Ivan is as attractive as Axel. So I'm sorry.
Axel pushed her away with his nonsense. I think she was a big part of his life, and he was under the assumption that things were fine. The problem is that they weren't. They
Correct.
weren't fine.
And that's okay. And she
but
is...
It's not okay. It's the crux.
Well, no.
It's the crux of the story.
I'm saying that breakups are okay because when you're younger, maybe not so much for him, but this is what happens when you get into a relationship with someone who's more than a decade younger than you,
right,
is that things change.
People do change.
People change.
People do change.
Goals and everything. Needs, wants.
I've been in that position before.
Yeah, because we've been in relationships when you were younger, and I've been in relationships with people that are older, maybe not as old as this one, but yeah, things are different and things change.
That 60-year-old man you dated.
He was ready to retire, and I wanted to stay up all night.
Money.
And go to the discotheque and hang out with my friends.
The discotheque? I
don't know, because I'm young.
Yeah,
wait, that's old.
Discotheque? Yeah,
I don't know.
Discotheque.
Trying to make a joke. Anyway.
Aging yourself terrible.
There's differences.
Yeah, no, there is.
That can work. As long as I'm not a relationship counselor, but have good communication and don't just sit there complacent thinking that things are going to be just as so forever. You got to work on stuff.
Yeah.
Axel, you have to work on your relationship.
Yeah,
you got to keep that hot piece of ass in the house. Don't let her go outside. She's too cute.
Yeah, she's far too attractive. Yeah, the only advice I can give, the main foundation of any relationship is a good basis of lies. You just kind of keep it.
You got to keep your notepad clear so that you know all the lies that you've told.
Exactly.
So that you don't mix anything up. Because when you mix it up, you get trouble.
That's where suspicion comes in, and people are just like, hey.
Real suspicious.
Boy. Really? Don't be suspicious. Yeah, no. But you shouldn't lie anyway. I don't lie. I always tell you the truth. I think that's my main problem.
True. So they don't do a cheat necessarily, but they're really trying to find that line between what is cheating and what is not cheating so they don't feel guilty. And they end up running into each other again, which wasn't the intention. They didn't want to know each other's surnames, right? Wasn't that the thing?
I think
so they could find each other?
Yeah, so it was kind of like, it's one step removed from actually going the whole way for a one-night stand. It pretty much is. But the thing is like, it's one of those magical moments where it's like, oh, you find the person of your dreams, like the counter person to your personality, and you spend the entire night up until the early morning the next day, like talking to them and stuff, which is, something that actually happens. But yeah, they didn't want to take it any further because then it would be bad.
Because they are both in relationships. It wasn't just her. They're both in a relationship with other people.
Yes, they are.
So that's trouble. But they do end up running into each other again. She's working at a bookstore because she still hasn't figured out what she wants her career to be, which is totally cool. Working at a bookstore is very fun.
Yeah. And certainly a Scandinavian bookstore is probably very, very tidy and very clean. And everyone probably is kind of nice, But, they do run into each other again. And then she obviously gets a glimpse into this man's partner, and you can tell, like, from the relationships that they're both in, they're just not gelling with their partner because their partner is actively changing. Like, things are either improving in their life or their mindset is changing. So just there's a natural drifting apart that's happening, which is perfectly fine within the realms of reason and understanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it's fine. She wants a copy of Green Yoga, and they don't have it.
Yeah.
And, she's not a bad person.
It's like, we don't have it. I can order it. It'll take 2 weeks. And she's like, no.
Correct.
And I'm like, well, there's Amazon as well. Like, you could get next day delivery with Amazon.
You really could, yeah.
You really could. I'm sure that's what
But you have to support your local brick and mortar businesses, Ryan. You can't just order everything on Amazon and make the rich richer, okay? You got to go to the bookstore.
That's true.
Used books are also very important. You could support charities.
Do you know how much a fucking book is in Barnes and Noble? Like, do you know how much that fucking thing is?
It's printed on the back. It's very expensive.
Very expensive. You can get it a lot cheaper online. I'm just saying.
You can get it very cheap at a thrift store.
They said they were gonna, not the books I'm fucking buying.
You never know.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
I bought a copy of Naked Lunch the other day at a thrift store. It cost me $1. I also got the first 2 Harry Potter books on paperback, and they cost me 50 cents.
Yes. But here's the thing.
At the thrift store.
But you don't know what you're getting at the thrift store until you get to the thrift store.
That's why it's a beautiful treasure hunt.
Yeah. And you're expected to get something that's secondhand. And, that's just the kind of way it is. If I go in the store and I'm getting something, I'm just like, Jesus motherfucking Christ, why the fuck is this book? There's only like 115 pages, $25 fucking dollars of cost. Like, it's fucking crazy. Absolutely fucking crazy. But yeah, no, I want Jeff Bezos to fucking fly a drone of that book that I want online to my fucking house, and that's it. I'm a happy little chappy.
Well, that woman is supporting her bookstore. Okay, we're at the bookstore.
I also will point out that I don't support Jeff Bezos, the Jeff Bezos agenda. I really don't.
No,
I don't. But it's the convenience factor. I just can't get away from it. It's such a mind fuck. Anyway, let's carry on.
We're gonna be okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be fine.
I hope. This is kind of coming up to the point we're inching closer to the penis scene.
Oi oi.
So we are kind of in Julie's head where she is looking at her partner, she's looking at Axel, and then she begins to envision the potential that she has with Ivan, the new boy from the party, right, that she runs into.
Yeah.
And she's trying to figure out what would be the best course of action. Does she stay with Axel? Does she leave and embark on something new? Because she's very comfortable. She moved into Axel's place. He's established. Does she want to start something new with this new guy?
I also think it's like a mindset of your 20s as well, is that you feel like
she had just turned 30. Not that numbers matter, but she had just turned 30.
30 is an awkward age for many of us. It certainly was an awkward age for me. Like, it feels like you're like, oh no, I need to change something right now. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck doing the same shit and I'm going to hate myself forever.
I literally changed everything about when I turned 30.
Yeah.
I finished school. Right after that, I moved to Scotland. I met you. I started a new career.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, everything changes.
And I had some plans of my own, really, until you walked into my life and completely upended them. But yeah, no, so we're in agreement.
Thank you.
But no, this is probably the most innovative, interesting scene in the entire film.
Absolutely.
And it is interesting. I mean, I like it. Like, I like how time is frozen and she's walking around these, these pictures, these moments as time is frozen. And it's like, it's like time stands still. And it's kind of like, yeah, because in any other film, you'd be like, this is stupid. Like in a romantic comedy, and this started happening, you'd be like,
it would be terrible.
Yeah, and it'd be something stupid. It'll be like that bit with Quicksilver in those X-Men movies. Like it'd be fucking stupid.
Well, those
like,
are awesome.
Dumb. Yeah, but it makes sense for Quicksilver in those movies for him to be able to do the things that he does. This is meant to be real life, but it's like a metaphysical fantasy version of of your imagination sort of thing. So if you saw this in a romantic comedy with fucking, I don't know, Jet Black and fucking Cameron Diaz, you'd be like tearing your fucking head out.
So she's Zach Morris's the world, right? So she pauses everything and runs out and runs to the coffee shop where Ivan works, and
here's the
everything
thing
is paused. Everyone is standing still. And what I like about this is that whole scene was done without CGI. So she's running through the streets of Oslo. Everyone is frozen, cars, everything, people, standing still.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were shooting it, the extras would stand frozen. And Renata would run through them. And the police had cut off basically one of the busiest streets at the busiest time.
Okay.
So the people who lived in town were pissed.
Okay.
And it's a small town. And I guess up to this day, even still, Renata has people tell her that they were there that day and how annoying it was.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, when everything is basically handed to you on a silver platter, you have nothing to complain about. I guess there is that. So, how unfortunate for you all.
Well,
but it's one of the most effective scenes in the entire film, and it just works. When it works, it works. So
it makes me wonder, and I know that their breakup, Axel and Julie, is kind of inevitable just because of where they were and the trajectory of her life. But it just makes me wonder how much longer they would have stayed together if that dude hadn't have shown up at her bookstore. Because I don't like this guy. He annoys me.
You just want to see him.
I just want to see her with Axel because I like that guy.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like. Yeah, well, I can tell where your attractions and stuff lie, but like, I don't think Ivan's that bad.
It's not that bad. I just don't find him that
interesting.
I just don't. No, of course not. He's a good person. I just don't find him that intriguing.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
If I saw him at a party, I wouldn't break up with my boyfriend for him.
No, I mean, I would fucking hope not. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, like, I don't think. Yeah, he's very plain. Like, he's just a plain man. I know you don't like planes too much.
Planes.
Yeah. So, I
like
know.
fancies.
You like
I like
fancies.
fancy artist
I'm
boys.
not yeah, well, I guess I am a fancy artist boy.
That's right.
It is part of my makeup. It will never die. But yeah, no, I mean it's okay. So like we do that sequence, they effectively that's the moment of them in inverted commas falling in love. And then she kind of warps back and then time starts again and she's back in the kitchen with her current boyfriend.
And this is well, again, inching even closer to the penis scene because
we're still getting there.
We are. Well, they have to break up. You know, she doesn't want to do a cheat. She wants to be honest.
Yeah.
And they have that incredibly awkward breakup conversation because it's never going to be nice.
Those conversations are never easy, which is something I kind of respect in this film, is that it's long, it's drawn out,
it's messy.
It's like he starts to like beg her. And he's like, but I thought our relationship was, and it's just like, oh my God, his entire world is crumbling down.
Like I've been in his shoes, I've been in her shoes. I think we all have been in all of the shoes where
I've never been broken up with. I've always done the breaking up. Yeah.
Well, fancy artist boy, interesting.
Well, no. I mean, the thing is like sometimes I didn't have a choice. It's like, oh, you ran away to the US to go meet this guy with a bulldog and then fucked him on his boat. I think we have to break up now.
Yeah, mine were different.
Yeah,
mine were different.
I always broke up with people. I always did it. I was like, yeah, if you ever need me to put something down, that's probably me.
Do you think, Ryan, that you do those things to shield yourself from getting hurt?
No.
Because you don't want to be vulnerable.
Oh my God. No, I mean, I'm always vulnerable, but I spent a very long time being on my own. Like, if I ever wanted to be with someone, then I'll be with someone. I was quite content for a very long time just to kind of be on my own. That doesn't prevent like feeling lonely or, helpless or unwanted. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you can be content. You can be content just with yourself for large swathes of time, I think.
Yeah.
So,
In this episode of Therapy Chat, we discuss how you got to love yourself, because if you don't, how in the hell you're going to love somebody else? And I believe that is RuPaul.
Whatever. Yeah.
RuPaul quote.
I thought you were about to sing the Doobie Brothers.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? RuPaul.
Anyway, I feel embarrassed. Basically, they have breakup sex.
Oh, back in the film.
Yeah, they have breakup sex.
They do, because...
Which is never good, by the way. It's never a good time.
I've never done that.
It's awful.
I've never done that.
Or then you have sex after you've broken up and stuff.
That
as well,
has happened, and it's the worst. And you're like, oh no, it's like you did all the hard work, and then they get confused.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh no.
Yeah.
I got to do it again.
I'm like, I'm like.
That didn't happen here.
Yeah, you just feel icky. But anyway, yeah, this didn't happen here. She still breaks up with him. She still leaves. But basically the sex is like the thing that puts the nail in the conversation, because the conversation has to end. Like, it has to.
Right.
Because you have to escape from this scenario. Because it fucking sucks.
Yeah, the air gets really thick and sad. So I just wanted to put a marker on this. It's 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 5 seconds. This is about the penis scene. So this is the post-breakup sex.
Yep.
And this is them laying on the floor having a chat.
Yeah.
And it's quite sad and emotional, but then you know that this is something that she has to do.
Yeah.
And, they're discussing that maybe they'll get together again someday. And she says maybe, and she believed it, and she thought that maybe they would, because she does love him and she does care about him. Mm-hmm. But it just isn't, their timelines aren't syncing up at the moment.
Nothing's working at the moment. So, but she goes to leave, she gets up, she's walking down the hallway and it tracks back a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's another one of our favorite things.
It is an absolute favorite.
Standing there, just porky pigging it as he watches her leave. And
sad man.
Very sad. Yeah, it's very sad cock. Like just a very sad, just a very sad kind of moment because you kind of feel like, yeah, like if he was just standing there without a t-shirt on, it wouldn't be as effective.
If he was completely nude,
there'd be some kind of like there'd be a level of pride that he's holding on to if he's completely naked. He's just like, yeah, I'm standing here, I'm naked completely, as opposed to, I'm standing here and I'm still wearing my t-shirt.
Well, right, because it shows the urgency of the breakup sex. Like, it shows his desperation.
Yeah.
Because he's trying everything he can with words and actions to get her to stay.
Yeah.
Which means getting your pants off as quickly as possible and getting down to business, because she was still wearing her shirt and everything. You know, you don't have time in this desperate situation to get all of your clothes off.
No.
You just have to get it done.
Yeah.
And it shows how comfortable he is with her because they've been together for, I assume, a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, that's unquestionable. But yeah, it's obvious they've seen each other's bits and bobs.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, that is quite clear, but it's obvious that they have had a comfortable relationship together and where no matter what circumstance, he feels comfortable around her.
Yeah, but she goes running straight towards the other one, Ivan, basically. And their relationship continues with the rest of the story. Because I don't know, like, I don't really want to kind of go from it beat to beat. We're kind of getting near to the end. It's like that their breakup is kind of like the center point in the film, because it's basically about an hour. The film's about 2 hours long. So the next hour is basically taken up with, will this new relationship work? It's
not even about that, you know what I mean?
No, it's not about that at all.
It's not about that, because it's not about her finding a relationship. Like, that is so secondary. You know, it's more about her relationship with herself, her relationship with other people.
Yeah.
Not necessarily romantic, but
yeah.
But
it's like you're still, as the film, even at this hour point, like, she breaks up with the guy, so you're like, oh my god, is that the worst? And you're like, well, no, not really. She's not really the worst by doing that. She kind of just put someone out of their misery because, it wasn't going in the direction that she wanted it to go in. But then, she does do some other questionable things. I think the thing that bothers me, but I kind of respect her for, is that, she does meet up with Axel again. And he has fucking cancer. And basically, at least to me, it is one of the most heart-wrenching 30 minutes I've seen in a film in quite a fair while.
yes.
And it's like she spends all this time like reconnecting with him, and he's literally dying of fucking pancreatic cancer. And it's like the final night, and they're like, yeah, maybe it's your time to go and see him. And she basically stays up all night until the morning, because they're like, he might not make it through the night. And then when the sun comes up, she has that smile on her face. She's like, okay, well, it's over. It's over now. Her involvement is over. But I think it's more of like that staggered relief of the fact that, like, he was suffering. And she's like, well, at least it's, it's over now,
That it's hard enough to have a breakup with someone. But it's unimaginable to have that person in your life who is, going through such pain, and also knowing that you are a huge source of that pain.
Yeah.
Or an additional pain. Obviously, she's not his cancer, but just a big regret of his life.
It's the difference between emotional and physical pain.
Seeing her while having cancer was probably really horrible for him, even though he loved her forever.
Yeah.
Well,
there's some really sad moments in it where he's just kind of like he wishes he could just go back in time and just be in the flat with her, and that's kind of his.
He said
and it's
that
like, oh my fucking Christ,
she was the most important person in his life.
Oh God Almighty!
And he goes, I don't. You're still young. I probably won't be the most important person in yours. It's like, oh God. But I do think it's great that she went to see him. That part is really hard to watch.
It's also it is very difficult to watch. It's also,
but it's amazing.
If it was me, I'd maybe tone down on some of the things I said to that person if I'm dying of cancer, because like the situation's bad enough. I don't need to make this person feel potentially worse, because like that's kind of what he's doing.
I don't think that
he's not doing it intentionally, I don't think, but he's really just like, he's really letting it loose that
he's dying though.
He is, but
he should be able to do. I mean, he didn't know if he would have the chance to talk to her again.
No, but I'd show at least a level of fucking reverence, because like the last thing I want when I'm out of this world, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'll make that. I'll be honest, like I'll pick the right sort of person. Like I'll really make some cunt feel terrible. If I really fucking wanted to. But not someone like that who, like, if you were to look at it from her perspective, you'd start to understand why things didn't work. Because if you have, like, so little regard and you're such a selfish bastard that you're just like, well, look, I'm going to use my cancer as the emotional crux that I'm going to use to guilt you for the rest of your fucking life.
I disagree.
That's what it feels like.
No, he said some really lovely things to her as well.
He did, but it's also kind of softened by things that are like kind of fucked up, where you're like, why are you telling me that? It's like, I'm not fucking interested. Thank you very much, Axel.
Wow.
Yeah. How did your animated movie go?
No butthole.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This film, a lot of people probably saw because it was very popular during the awards season.
Yeah, it's one of the big Oscar contenders of the year, I remember.
It premiered.
It was on the tip of everyone's tongue.
The tip.
Yes, the tip.
Speaking of the tip, no, it premiered in competition for the Palme d'Or at the 2021 Cannes Film Festival.
What won that year? 2021.
These are the kind of questions I need to just think that you're going to ask me.
Because when did Titan come out? Was that 22? Probably was.
You know what? I was talking about this movie before we watched it, maybe like a week ago, and I was like, it came out last year.
Well, don't worry. That was. I do that to you anyway, because then I don't also have the answer. So I'm gonna see which one won the Palme d'Or. And it might be what it is. Actually,
it's Titan.
It was Titan. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm a fucking smart motherfucker.
It was Titan. I don't know why, but Titan does feel like it came out several years ago, but this one doesn't. I don't know. But Renata won Best Actress for that film. It was also nominated for Best International Feature Film and Best Original Screenplay at the Academy Awards. It did not win, but it won Best International Independent Film at the British Independent Film Awards.
Yes. Okay. Oh, dog's here. Yeah. No, I think it's deserving of its accolades, but yeah, I think at the time, like, I wasn't blown away by the film. I don't dislike it. I'm just like, huh, okay, well, that's what that is. But I'm glad that it's at least given Joachim his, like, the opportunity to continue to make films on a slightly more international platform. Because now that, people know that he made The Worst Person in the World, it gives him just a little bit more of that international acclaim. So I think it did have a more far-reaching interest than just being another nominee of the foreign films section for the Academy Awards. So
yeah, and the other two, if anyone has an opportunity to watch the other ones in that, kind of Oslo trilogy or whatever, they're really, really good. And if you thought this film was sad, just wait, because the other ones are pretty sad too.
Because other than his shorts, he only has 6 features for the most part. So yeah, it's not an extensive filmography.
No, they're a lot of them are very watchable. Jesse Eisenberg's in one of them. I haven't seen that one. I only watched the.
Oh, you know what? I think I've.
Louder Than Bombs. That one. I haven't seen that one yet.
I have. We have watched that. I think either I've watched it or you've watched it.
Not me.
Okay, well, I'm pretty, unless I'm mixing it up with
I
something
log
else.
everything on Letterboxd. Everything. I know what I've seen.
I have a memory, so here we
My
go.
memory I don't trust. Letterboxd I do. Would you like to get into your ratings, sir? Would you like to go first for visibility and context?
So yeah, visibility and context are relatively quite high. I would probably give it about a 4. Contextually, I think it makes sense from them having just had breakup sex, but I think it's the it's the meaning behind it and like what the shot itself means to that particular character's what he's feeling in that moment is also demonstrated by how he physically appears. So without the t-shirt, I think there's a little bit more of a connotation that he's a little bit prouder. He's a little bit more like, well, I'll survive without you sort of look to him. So for him to be kind of standing there pathetic, flaccid, with his white t-shirt on, sad look on his face, the sad cartoonist, Porky Pig in it. I think it's effective. So it earns its stars, I feel like, for that. And it's more effective. Plus, as much as it's a sad scene, because it is pretty sad, that's also there is a level of amusement out of at least that moment. And I feel like that's quite welcome at that point. Because this film, as much as anything else, of it being a drama and stuff like that, it is actually genuinely funny. It is amusing. Yeah. So, you know.
I can really only echo what you said. I also gave it a 4. I do think that it is very important to show in this post breakup sex situation the vulnerability that Axel is displaying and just kind of putting everything out on the line. It shows the like literally what just happened. You know, they did have sex, so why would he be wearing any underwear, wearing any pants or anything?
Yeah.
But just the fact that he is there, he's being vulnerable, he is desperate, and he is sad. And, you know, I think that that is important for that character, especially considering where he ends up.
Yeah.
And how, sorry, I don't know. It sucks.
Yeah, it does sad. Suck. It does suck.
But I think that's just a genuine good moment for that character, and the Porky Piggin is always a real treat.
Yeah, it's always something that's quite welcome when it does happen.
Yeah, and it just kind of being there in that wide shot, and it was like kind of tracking backwards and just seeing him just there alone, no pants. And yeah, I think that's a really excellent moment.
Yeah, there we are. There we are.
What about the film?
So I gave the film a 4. Probably deserves more of a 3.5. But really, it's a film that teaches all of us everyone wants kids eventually.
No, that is not true.
I mean, that's the moral of the story.
You're fine.
Yeah.
What, like everyone that says that they didn't want kids
end up having kids eventually.
Yeah, even
it
though
was only the universe that prevented her from having a child, in that she miscarries the child that she's impregnated with.
Yeah, that's
that then when she's on her own, the universe speaks to her and basically says, "No, we're not going to do this to you," and then miscarries her. But no, I would say it deserves it. I gave it a 4 because I think I enjoyed the last 30 minutes more, or at least it was more gripping. Not so much enjoyed. It's far more gripping this time around than it was the first time around. But probably, like, realistically, it probably deserves more of a 3.5. Like, if I'm being actually critical of it. So,
well, you can keep the 4. I gave it a 4.5. I gave it a 4.5 when I saw it the first time, and I gave it a 4.5 this time. It's an incredibly engaging story. I think it's interesting. Everyone's good looking, so it's nice to watch. It's not very long, and I just really enjoyed the journey, and I enjoyed how funny it was, and how sweet and how sad. I really do like a film where you can laugh and you can cry if you feel like it. I try to keep myself out from crying because I don't feel like crying. You know, life is sad enough as it is, but I think it really is a good balance between both. And I like this movie. 4.5.
Yeah, it's decent. It's decent.
Can't wait for that next Criterion sale. Put it in the cart.
Oh boy.
Add to cart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anything else you want to add?
No, not really. I mean, we're never gonna have children. Kids. Ew. Gross.
The music in this movie is great, by the way. Christopher Cross, Siamonde. That's all. That was the only thing.
Yeah, no, actually, the soundtrack to this film is actually incredibly good.
I'm
surprised
Siamonde.
that we didn't bring it up. But yes, no, it's very good. Even just the score that they have for the film as well, I think is very, very good. But yeah, no, there you go.
Excellent.
That's it.
Well, thank you. Another wonderful film. Our very first film from this region.
Yeah, it certainly might not be the last. So
no, unfortunately, there's no wieners in the other two of Joachim's movies that I've seen. So we'll just have to keep looking. But thank you so much for being here with me today, Ryan. And I don't thank the dog for being loud, but you're the editor king, so I won't have to worry about it. No one will ever know except for now.
We were speaking over the entirety of his loud and obnoxious entrance into our podcast studio. So I am holding him now, and I am stroking his chin, and that seems to be working. So
I know you can't see him, listeners, but he's very cute.
He's adorable. I fucking love this dog so much.
Coming to you from the Barcode Project. Do you remember that from the film?
Yes.
I have been Laura.
Dignitas.
No dignitas, guys.